Yep. What's up, guys, and welcome to the 4th episode of the AWSM Games Podcast. I, your host, Alex Wolf, joined here by the founder of More Than Friends Productions, Stephen Morrow.
Hello.
Stephen, it's been a week. How you been, buddy?
I've been good.
Yeah?
I went to the ER, and that was nice.
Yeah?
We're all becoming fast friends there. They're starting to recognize me. It's like every 3 or 4 months I'm there.
I'm like, oh, is it the thing? Yeah, it's the thing, and they just take care of you.
But this time it was a different side, kidney stones. But it was the other kidney.
Okay.
So.
Wait, the other kidney?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you had it in both kidneys, honestly. I thought it was just the one.
Well, this is the first time.
Oh.
Yeah, first time on the other side.
That explains why you were able to take care of it so quick. Okay, that makes sense.
So I was switching it up, but it's fine. Passed it, no problem.
Skills.
So yeah, I've had a good week.
Well, I mean, you could have hit yourself in the head.
Yeah, like
I did.
Do you want to share any of that?
Yeah, so I was helping my girlfriend's mother move, and her uncle and I, we strapped down a couch and a recliner into the bed of his truck. And so when we did it, the tarp we used, because it started raining, was a little too small, so we had to tighten it up as much as we could. So we had straps, bungee cords, and zip ties. So got the straps off, no problem. Got the bungee cords off, no problem. So he gets half the zip ties with a wrench, just pops them off, tosses me the wrench. I go for one, I get it out, no big deal, and I go for the second one. But the second one was super tight, so it had to, and it was right between the wall of the truck and the actual couch itself. So I couldn't really see, so I'm fishing around, and I start tugging, and I'm like, okay, I've got it. This is the zip tie. All I had to do was pull. So when he handed it to me, I didn't notice this. You have to shift it, and it adjusts the size of it all. It adjusted its side and it dropped down lower, so it was a wider grip. So when I pulled, I yanked it. It slipped off the zip tie. I whacked the shit out of my forehead. Not with the wrench, but with my wrist. So I'm like, whew, okay. And I'm fine. Didn't hurt too bad. All right. Walk inside, and I feel my forehead tightening up. And I didn't see this grape-sized lump on my forehead. I'm like, oh. Well, okay then. So
I'm glad that it healed up in time for you to be on camera.
I mean, it's not too noticeable now. I mean, it's definitely still there, but yeah.
My favorite thing about that is when he was first telling me the story. So I'm terrified of bungee cords. I just always assume they're gonna snap and tear my face off like some Final Destination movie. So when he said bungee cords, I'm like, that's what did it. No. And then he tossed me the wrench. I'm like, that's what did it. No. He hit his own fucking head with his own hand.
I was like, well, okay, this is fine. So, did that. But other than that, Steven, you know what I have been doing?
Uh-oh.
Been watching Rachel play Beat Saber.
Oh, I thought we were going to go into...
Good lord.
I thought we were going to go into Days Gone.
Oh, no, we will, but this takes precedence right now.
No, this is true.
It's
actually impressive.
It is scary impressive because... So when I first got VR, I got the Borderlands 2 VR Beat Saber bundle because I wanted to play Beat Saber. So I played it a little bit. It's fine. Rachel just took off with it. So she played it consistently straight. Got everyone in her family to come over. If you hear jingling, it is my cat. She is now in a switch. What are you doing?
She's switching it up, getting in that switch box.
And then now she's back for the ball. But anyway, if you hear any ringling or meow, again, the kitten. So anyway, Rachel is playing Beat Saber like a monster. We stopped for about 3 months, right? And then all of a sudden we go to a friend of mine, Alex Derrickson. Check out, he has the show, the PlayStation 4 cast. Check it out. Good stuff. But he was having a WrestleMania party. And he had Beat Saber. He had WrestleMania on one television and Beat Saber on the other. Rachel immediately triggered, goes straight for it.
So WrestleMania and then Rachel playing Beat Saber.
Yeah, all at the same time. So she goes and plays, and it's like she never put the controller down. I'm looking at him, I'm like, she's like, oh, I'm supposed to play this a lot. I'm like, Alex, we haven't played in 3 months. I don't know what's going on right now. This is terrifying. So she does that, and immediately is like, I have to get the platinum trophy in this game. And I'm like, okay, by all means, go ahead. We are now within the 2-3 weeks it's been. We have 4 trophies left, and they're all the 24-hour, 100 million, and then double S rank on expert, and then, or no, we need the 15 full combo on expert, and then 15 S ranks on expert. So 5 trophies.
Well, I think that's really impressive.
But
that's a tough platinum. 4
more S ranks to get on expert. And these are happening 2 songs at a time within the last 3 or 4 days. So it's
She's on the. We're looking at her.
We're looking at her, but it's like
we're not just staring at a wall.
But like, good lord, I was like, this is way impressive. I can barely finish a song on hard, let alone finish one on expert. But no, besides that, dabbled in some Mortal Kombat, which I know you have as well. But the game topic of choice here, because Mortal Kombat's getting great reviews left and right. Great games, doing extremely well for the fighting community. NetherRealm's knocked it out of the park. What we have now is a new IP, an exclusive from Sony, in the form of Days Gone. So, give you some background on this. Days Gone is developed by Bend Studios. Bend was started in 1993, purchased from Sony a few years later.
Year.
Yeah.
It was a real good year.
A real good year.
Year I was born.
Same.
Year of a legend. Two legends. There we go.
Yeah, and some. Anyway, so they were eventually purchased by Sony back in 2000. Their first console game, and I didn't know this until I started researching it, was Bubsy 3D.
Bubsy.
Here we are.
From Bubsy to Days Gone.
Gone.
Can you imagine? What if all of the freakers, the horde of freakers, what if they were all Bubsy?
Just Bubsies. Bubsy everywhere.
Hundreds of Bubsies. I want that game.
Oh god, you know that'd be more terrifying, honestly.
I really
if I see this big-eyed fox-like things coming out like that dark
game sneaking around, and there's just a Bubsy comes out of a nest.
Oh god, it's all terrifying.
Bubsies on bikes.
Oh god, Bubsy
every
on
character
bike.
should just be Bubsy.
You're right.
I actually think I know how to fix the review scores for Days Gone. We just need to patch in Bubsy.
Patch in Bubsy.
I
mean, they've had 4 patches so far. 2 of them happened right after launch, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, do it.
So anyway, back to so Bubsy 3D. They did it with 8 developers or 8 employees, you could say. Then after a while, Sony then phoned them in to develop Siphon Filter, a great legacy PlayStation title, which I'm surprised we haven't seen another one of. Maybe we'll see one in the future. They did that. They recruited 5 more employees just to do that, but they recruited for that was because they were already familiar with the game's engine, and they knocked it out of the park after the failure that Bubsy was critically. So for them to be given that second chance and take off with it is awesome. So they did a bunch of Siphon Filters for a while. Then in 2004 they released Logan Shadow. That was the last one they did. And then
that one was real good.
Yeah, it was really good. And then later they did Resistance Retribution for the PSP,
which you could make a mean argument that that's the best Resistance game.
Oh yeah,
and I don't even think that's controversial.
No,
I love that series, but that was an amazing game.
And the fact that they were able to do that on the PSP, which at the time people complained about how shitty first-person shooters were on there due to the lack of a second analog stick.
I think that one was third person though.
Resistance
Retribution, not the Burning Skies was the first person one on the Vita.
On the Vita,
yeah.
Are you sure?
The PSP, yeah, it was third person, and it was like cover based, and you would pop out and you could like lock onto the enemies and stuff.
Okay.
But it was phenomenal. Like it had like set pieces, and there were like tactical things you could do. It was really good, real good.
Yeah.
And it looked gorgeous for the PSP.
Oh yeah. And then after Resistance, they went on to do a launch title for the PS Vita, a little known title called Uncharted Golden Abyss. That's something originally they had to agree to a lot from Naughty Dog to be able to put out that game. And they worked extremely closely with Naughty Dog in order to make sure they got the right feel for the game as well.
They got the shirt wrinkle in there.
They got the shirt wrinkle.
When you run the shirt wrinkles on a portable device, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean the PS Vita was impressive itself as a console to begin
with.
Yeah,
but shirt wrinkles.
Shirt wrinkles.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but did you get the pants wet? Did the pants get wet when you walked in the water?
I think he got wet too.
All right, Kitty got wet.
Bubsy got wet.
Oh God!
Oh, no. Bubsy needs to drown. Bubsy needs to get very wet. Wait, no. Like he needs to be submerged and okay.
Anyway, so we did that, and that brings us now. So Days Gone is Ben's first console game since 2004. They haven't worked on any other like major console since Logan Shadow.
This has been in development for 8 years?
2015 when they started development on it.
4 years?
Mm-hmm.
That's half of what I said.
Yeah, I say God, no, that means they completely said, all right, skip PS3.
Well,
so they did that. It was first announced at E3 2016. The game was delayed twice. So originally it was slated to release sometime in 2018. Then it got delayed into 2019 in February, and then from then to April, the April launch. They went from 40 to 50 employees to 130 for Days Gone. They were recruiting like crazy.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of components to this game.
No, yeah, and they definitely took their time with it as well and tried to get as much polish on there as they could. And they were very passionate about it, just watching all the video documentaries and everything, the interviews. So backdrop on the game, it is a story-driven, single-player, open-world game. Main character is Deacon St. John. He is a former president of a motorcycle club. So it really helped. It takes place in Oregon, which is where Bend is from. So they had a lot of the layout kind of easy to resource. So they got a lot of recreations in there of the layout of the land. But they also, a lot of their employees apparently were bikers. So everyone,
That's interesting.
yeah, I wasn't expecting that. But they got a lot of input on how to handle the bike and what to do when it comes to customization and how to run things. So it helps with the feel. So that way when you customize customize the bike, you get a real accuracy and you feel like, oh, okay, you feel the weight of what you're doing, which is nice.
Huh.
And a lot of revolutionary things. It also created this horde system, which I myself, since playing, I haven't experienced it yet. I haven't got a whole lot of time with the game, just because of a lot of obligations.
Well, that's actually a weird thing about the game. It takes a while before you find your first horde.
Really?
Like, it's like the whole first chapter of the game, I don't think there's a horde. I mean, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because I got to my first horde today, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I can hear about that.
We'll share the
yeah.
Spoiler alert, it did not go well.
So, but one engineer spearheaded that whole project, the horde system. One person spearheaded that. So he probably had people working under him, but like it was his idea and he ran with it. Wow. So I mean that's impressive, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that in future games to come. Just because like I mean if it works, it works. And from what I hear, the horde system itself as a concept in the game works extremely well.
I think that's everyone's favorite. There's like the bike and then the hordes. Those are like the two things that people are praising the most, I think.
So there's that. Let's see. So and then recently, this one you thought this close to launch you wouldn't hear more about it. On the 24th, they dropped the news that they're going to be releasing free content and DLC for the game starting in June. So I thought that was really cool because I mean there's no reason they had to do it, especially this close to launch. They could easily wait, save it for sometime in the summer to say, hey, more Days Gone content, because that's when it's launching, is June. But they put it out. It's going to come up with a new difficulty level survival mode. It's going to be harder. There's no fast travel, which is crazy, and you have a limited HUD display. So
in the new mode.
Yeah. So chances are it'll probably remove, I imagine your health and stamina. Yeah. Which will be difficult because I mean your stamina goes out at least in the beginning of the game pretty quick.
What if there's no HUD at all? When you go into the map doesn't show up. There's like no menus.
You need to chart all
the craft
over
menu.
again.
You just have to remember the button combinations.
God. But yeah, so we have that, and it will also add new trophies. So that'll be there for people, which will be good. Oh, it's also adding a new bike, a new horde, and a new combat challenge.
A new horde?
New hordes. Hordes and combat challenges. So I imagine the way they worded it seemed weird when I read the article. It was this is all via the PlayStation blog. Yeah, so new combat challenges I'm assuming will involve hordes. So I don't know if there will be a new horde just thrown in there.
I wonder if that could be like something like the skill points in like Ratchet and Clank games.
Yeah.
Where like you do this thing and then you get a point or something. Maybe the combat challenges could be like a list of
little
checklist
things
that you can do kind of anywhere. That'd be kind of neat.
That would be cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. For those who didn't play, I mean, so just for, I guess, context, I played the digital deluxe edition, which retailed for about $79.99. Did you got your code for the?
Yeah, I got the code for free, but I bought the game before I got the code. Okay. So I'm gonna be doing a swap-a-rooney. But
well, hey, GameStop has that new promo now.
Yeah, it doesn't work for employees. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense because we have the ability to check things out. So.
Yeah, but I didn't check it out because I wanted to support the developers. So yeah, jokes on me. But I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'm sure it'll be fine.
but But yeah, so I was playing the standard version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get any fancy stuff yet, but I did mess around with some of the pre-order bonus stuff. So I got there's like an upgraded fuel tank.
Yep.
Which I still run out of fuel all the time, so I can only imagine.
The crossbow.
Yeah, and I was messing with the crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm bad at aiming, so I'm really bad at this game.
God.
Like I'm really.
Well, I mean, I tell you right. When I first started riding the bike, oh god, I was god awful.
I feel like the intro sequence is very difficult.
Yes.
Like that bike sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that.
You start.
Spoiler alert! You don't have that bike for long. And
Yeah,
I'm
you
very
you upgrade real soon.
Yeah, and that was awful.
So
like I immediately, as soon as you're able to drive and like steer, I ran right into a tree.
Yeah, right into a tree.
Bam.
Off a hill into the river. I'm like, good lord! I'm like, hey, I can't be this hard. I'm like, Jesus.
No, I'm just inept. Like seriously, we're like chasing a guy on the bike. It's like,
Yeah.
we gotta get him. And then I like tried to back up, and he's just using his little legs.
Well,
I drove back.
I hit a tree so hard I fell off. Had to get back on. As I'm holding square to get back on the bike, I immediately just Deacon's body goes just deadpan laying horizontally and floats into the sky. I'm like, what the hell just happened? No. Eventually he comes back down, he gets on the bike. I'm like, okay, great.
You had an out of body experience.
Exactly.
In Days Gone.
The spirit of said bike was just like, no, we cannot have this. Anyway, so like I said today, the standard copy for $59.99, the digital deluxe for $79.99. Then you had the collector's, which was $199.99.
That came with a statue.
Yeah, it came with a statue, steelbook, some pins, like enamel pins, decals, a soundtrack, and like patches you can put on like a jacket. Mm-hmm. So it came out in a 48-page art book by Dark Horse. So that was pretty cool.
I didn't know about the art book.
Does that change things for you?
It does change things. I'm still not going to buy it, but it changed something.
Well, the digital deluxe version comes with a mini art book on the what have you, so you can check that out.
I'll be able to look at that.
Yeah, some of it, not all 48 pages, but some.
46.
Yes,
how many pages are we talking?
Yes, the $200 difference, $120 difference comes from the 2 pages.
Those 2 pages are important.
Anyway, so there was that. So I started playing the game, and the game's getting pretty, like, extremely mixed reviews, and it's crazy to see that because IGN gave it like a 6.5. PlayStation Lifestyle gave it a 9, which. So I read a few articles. I've read those. I read Game Informer's. I read. There's one more. I can't remember who it is. I don't know. I went through Metacritic's like critic site and I kind
I was perusing every single little excerpt I read on Metacritic.
Well, I went through like a lot of the major ones. So I read a few of the good ones, a few of the mixed ones, and a few of the bad ones. And I just kind of picked the bigger review sites out of there. Just figured they probably have more polished reviews, so a better understanding.
One thing. This is a side note.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to shit on anyone, but I find it interesting when I was just reading the excerpts, but I was reading things, and a lot of them were talking about like bugs and like imperfections in the game. Mm-hmm. But there were so many typos in the things, and I'm just like, hold on, hold on, where's the editor?
Yeah,
where's the editor?
So,
but I mean, I understand mistakes happen, but it was just one of those things where I'm like, hold on,
like this game doesn't work.
Talking about imperfections, but writing. Someone said Day Gone instead of Days Gone.
Is that a Pokemon?
And I think it is actually.
No, Bagon. Bagon? 1 and 2. But
well,
close enough.
And then like one person was talking about the writing, but they put 2 T's, and I thought that was really funny.
Good lord.
Just ironic.
But so I mean, and the thing with the game is a lot of people initially when first seeing gameplay and everything, a lot of people immediately compare this to The Last of Us, and I can see that. But after playing it, honestly, I get more of a Tomb Raider feel, like 2013 Tomb Raider. Because and I mean, at the same time though, 2013 Tomb Raider and Last of Us launched very similar at the same time, and they were both getting the same kind of comparisons. With the survival-esque aspect to them, one was a very more linear experience and more story-driven, where the other one was more open-world-ish and had a story, a really good story, but not as focused. So I would dare to compare them more to each other than The Last of Us. But
I agree.
At the same time, though, the UI, the menu going through your map, your skills, and everything, how you have to swipe with the touchpad to get to different ones, or you can just press L1 and R1, unnecessary to me. It makes it seem it's extremely busy, and I want to get through it. And I'm like, come on, like
I actually kind of like it because like in the middle of the thing, instead of having to pause and then press R1, you can just swipe real fast with your thumb, and then like I want to look at the map, swipe right.
Yeah.
I want to look at my items, swipe left.
Well,
like,
I mean, I think it's not necessarily the feature of the touchpad itself that bothers me, but the layout of everything. Because you go into one, so you pull up your skill tree and you click that, and you're like, okay, but it looks exactly the same as the previous menu did before you went to your skills.
So it doesn't like differentiate.
Right. So and then you're using the same swipe command. So you're thinking you're gonna get from one, and it's like no, then you end up lost in the cycle. It's like okay, hold on, what did I just do? Where did I come from? You have to remember the directions. And then, all they really have to do is just kind of put up a tab. That's a little easier to see because it's a very, very white background when you're in that menu.
Yeah, it is kind of bright.
It's hard to read.
It is really bright,
Yeah. So
which I thought was that's actually it's such a weird little thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so bright that I kind of like need my eyes to adjust before I can
Yes.
do anything.
Yeah. I'm like,
So I agree there.
yeah.
And then with like the map, when I was first opening the map, and I don't know if this is just like because it was in the beginning of the game because I don't seem to be having the problem now, but I didn't see a map. I just saw like a big thing with information about like the story and stuff like that.
Okay.
But now I actually see a map.
Okay.
And I don't know if I was doing something weird the first time or.
Well, and that falls into the case with so when I started playing the game, this is just asterisk here. When I first started, I played where it was ready to play, but it was still installing in the background the patch.
Mm-hmm.
So my first experience with the game, I'm like, this is not good. Like this is rough. Sound was off, so like I had all the volume levels maxed out to 10. I do that with all games. It works out fine typically. Very rare.
Isn't that default?
Yeah, exactly. So I just left it there. But I couldn't hear the dialogue. It was extremely quiet compared to everything else going on. So I'm like, I want to play this without subtitles because I want to immerse myself into it more. But I feel like I'm almost obligated to.
Well, did that fix itself after the patch?
After the patch, yeah.
Because I think I downloaded the patch,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't play it until the first patch was going. And I don't think I've run into a single like glitch in the game.
Yeah.
As far as like gameplay goes and everything.
Yeah,
like
since downloading the patch and everything, and this is patch 1.04. And that's fixed a numerous amount of problems.
I wonder when that patch went live because a lot of the reviews were talking about how buggy of an experience it is.
Reviews used 1.02. So
So
that was when all the bugs were happening. So they were experiencing a lot of that. So 1.03, 1.04 fixed a lot of those issues.
Because I was reading them and I'm like, maybe a lot of the bugs are later or something, but I wasn't running into any of the bugs, so I'm like, oh, okay, that's got to be some kind of like an early copy thing. Because I don't think that's reflective of the average consumer experience,
right?
As long as they're connected to the internet. Now, people who don't have internet, first of all, why? But second of all, probably not the best game to maybe like when they release like a special edition or something in the future. If that happens, then it'll come with all of the updates and stuff on it. But some of the reviews were saying that it's almost unplayable at certain parts.
Yeah.
And then like that was just totally different from my experience playing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, literally the first chunk of complaints I had were immediately fixed once I got this patch downloaded, which it took a minute, but it was done. It was like a 13 gig patch, which I thought was crazy. I'm like, God, I'm like, seriously, on launch? And I'm like, it's only been a couple days. And that was a little disheartening, but they fixed it, and that's nice. What does bother me, though, this isn't necessarily a criticism to the game, but so I went into the patch notes and the update history just to see what was fixed. And it just says, it's the generic,
visit this website?
No, it just, gameplay improvement. It doesn't say specifically what they fixed, but it's like, fixed player experience, something generic like that.
See, that's like almost as bad as when they just say, visit this website to see patch notes. And I'm like, just put it in the game. I want to see what this fixed.
I would prefer the website link because at least I can read everything really quick on my phone. Just like,
but I can't like.
Oh yeah, you can click it in the.
You have to type it in individually, and that's freaking annoying.
Which is you're right. You're not wrong at all. But at least you can at least find a list. I mean, even now, if I were to go through the PlayStation, see that is, I'm like, oh okay, well maybe they'll have the details on their website. No, nothing. I'm like, come on, guys, just let me know what you fixed. I want to know
because then we can see what it was like before and after.
Yeah, so that way if I'm critiquing something, I can know. Oh, it was just fixed. Okay, great. I'll go back and revisit that. So that's there. But I mean, so the story so far from what I've played isn't super engaging. Sam Witwer's great. I enjoyed him.
Is this a spoiler-free experience?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to keep it that way. Just it's early. If it was a little later, I'd be like, okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
But yeah, Sam Witwer, who plays the lead Deacon St. John, I think is fine. He does a good job. He was Star Killer in both Star Wars: Force Unleashed 1 and 2, and I enjoyed him in that. He was in Smallville. There's also another show on Sci-Fi where he played a vampire, and he did pretty well in that too. But I enjoy him as an actor. He does well, and he's passionate about his roles in video games just as much as he is in television. He said that, so that's nice. When I first saw he was going to be in the game, I'm like, okay, we're getting someone who's committed. That's good. So there's that. Combat, especially melee combat. This game does good at making you feel remorseful, at least in my opinion. So, I mean, when I'm going through an enemy camp and I see 3 people, like 3 random drifters and around, I'm marking my enemies. I go through and when I hear them talk, and I hear like this 16-year-old girl that I would imagine, wow. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to beat her face in with a hatchet,
Jesus,
because I know she's gonna come at me. But it's like I don't want to do this, but I know I have to, otherwise I'm screwed. So, and it's the hits feel weighty, not God of War weighty when you hit something, but it's definitely there. Like, whew. So it's a satisfying hit. Same thing with the gunshots. I mean, you get one, it's like, boom, okay, done, on to the next. So you definitely get the feel of when you, in the combat, which is awesome.
Like how, and normally I hate, like, durability on weapons, but for, like, a survival-esque game, that makes sense. Like, when you go into an area and you have, like, an awesome melee weapon, you have, like, awesome guns or whatever, and you're like, okay, I'm prepared. You're never prepared. You are never prepared. You go in there, and then you're like, your axe breaks before you can kill the person, and you're just screwed, and then you have to run, and every single time I always end up running, and I'm like either out of fuel or out of weapons, out of ammo, and it just becomes this like shit show of me dodging bullets and like hiding behind things, but I love it, and it's like, it's a very stressful experience. Like I feel like Days Gone is probably the most stressful thing that I played since the original Outlast. Just because I always feel like I'm not prepared, but in like the best way possible for a survival game. Like it makes sense within the context of this kind of game.
Yeah.
And I really like that, and I mean, I say I like it. I hate it in the moment, but like I love the feeling of like being surrounded by enemies and you're just like holding your breath, hoping that your melee weapon will last in order for you to survive, and then it never does. And then that whole act of like trying to like run around a camp and just try to like scrounge up items so that you can like throw a Molotov cocktail is just, I really like that. And I think they did a really good job of making you feel just as like desperate as the world would justify, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And that goes into like the weight of the combat and everything, and just like having to scavenge for items I think is really interesting in this game, which it being open world kind of adds to that. And having that like distance between the next thing that could save your ass is it adds to that feeling and that emotion of each encounter, which I think is cool.
Yeah. No, I like that. So far I've been very stealthy how I've gone through these things because I know things are scarce and I don't want to run.
I always try to be stealthy. Yeah. I'm not a stealthy person.
It's definitely a game. It's definitely the patient game. So something else I've noticed is, and it's kind of odd. So the textures on the pavement, like on the road, look great. Honestly, looking at that road, I'm like, that looks nice. That looks really good.
I have not examined the road in this game.
I'm surprised, seeing as someone who played Tales in Shadowfall and spent half an hour looking at a damn tree.
Well, so this entire game, my entire experience playing Days Gone, I've been running. Like I'm always being chased by something. It's like that. I was tackled by a wolf while riding my bike. It's bad. I don't know if I just like attract bad luck in these kinds of games, but like the entire time I've been running, I don't have time to look at the road. I just don't. So
when I did that, and I did this very early on, so I made sure I wasn't around any enemies or anything like that. But looking at that, but then the rest of the textures and everything else don't look great. Like they look fine, they're not bad by any means. They just don't look anywhere exceptionally well as other certain things do. So I'm like, I don't know if it was again another thing that's going to come in a patch later, or if that was something that it was noticed before I fully installed the game, so it could be different now. But there was that. I'm like, that's just a little odd to me. And then
I actually didn't. I mean, again, I haven't really been able to like stop and really stare at anything. But I haven't really noticed any of that. I did see there was on PlayStationTrophies.org. They had a comparison video between the visuals for the regular PS4 and the PS4 Pro. and they did that thing where they like swipe the screen and you can see like the difference.
Yeah.
And there was like no difference, which is good, I think, for standard PS4 owners.
Yeah.
Which might be why I didn't really notice anything. It might just be the same kind of visual fidelity that I'm used to with games. But for somebody who's used to the PlayStation 4 Pro,
which is what I used. That's how I played the game.
It might be kind of like one of those things where, oh, this doesn't look as good as other things that I played, which is weird coming from a PlayStation exclusive. It's kind of interesting that they didn't do that, even though on the box it says optimized for PS4 Pro.
Yeah, and that's a lot of games have done this, and it bothers me to an extent. It's not bad, and I get why, but I mean, it's always easier to lock something in on a standard console instead of, like, in your instance where you're saying this works well for standard console players. That's great, but for someone who spends the extra $100 on the luxury console, they shouldn't be sacrificed. If anything, it should be easier that the standard PS4 just locks in like, hey, it's 60 frames, 30 frames, whatever, 1080p. This is what you get. Keep it there. Whereas, the PS4 Pro should have that ability to, this is what we get, so that way no one loses out, especially for the people who spent the extra $100 on the console. Like, do something. If you've got to make it not super 4K and keep it at least higher than 1080p and lock in at 30 frames, that's fine. At least the player who spent that extra $100 is getting
something.
Yeah, he's getting consistent. He or she's getting consistent.
Is there
play?
I know with a lot of games that are PS4 Pro enhanced or optimized or whatever, there's an option. Like, you can go into the options. You can be like, okay, I want to prioritize graphics or performance.
Yeah.
Something like. Is there an option for that in Days Gone?
No. The option to turn off HDR or not. But there was no option there. But you can go into the PS4 settings and lock it in at 1080p if you want to. So when that's in games, that's fine, but it's not like pivotal because you can just go into this. It's probably more convenient for those who don't mess around with those system settings themselves. So it makes it a little more convenient, but not necessary. So that's fine, and the standard PS4s have HDR. So, I mean, but it was just weird to me how some games take a hit for being PS4 Pro optimized when that shouldn't be the case. Like, at that point, why does the console exist?
You would think that at least it would be like baseline.
Like, that should be baseline, and it should not be hard for the standard PS4 consoles to keep up, because all you have to do is that should be lower end tier nowadays. With next gen on the horizon, how it is, games should be 1080p, and it should not be a huge cost or problem.
Considering that was something that was mentioned in a lot of reviews, they were saying, okay, it's not visually the most impressive, and every single time that I saw something like that, it was like accompanied by, I'm playing on PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's like something weird going on there, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of an update that does add more of the optimization for the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
Considering that seems like it's getting a lot of attention, like negative attention from reviews.
Yeah.
So if they've been that fast getting out patches for like the bugs and stuff like that, the game's been out for what, 2 days, 3 days?
It came out Friday, so this will be day 3.
So they've already got 4 patches out or whatever. So hopefully they're going to keep that going, and they'll be doing something for the PS4 Pro owners.
Yeah. One sec. Laptop is dying, and I have more battery power than I do. I'm going to grab a charger really quick. So if you have any other impressions, by all means, go. I'll be back in like a second.
This is a lot of pressure.
Do it, Steven.
I can't do this on my own, Alex.
You can do it.
I don't... Hi. I feel naked.
Oh, do you now?
I feel naked without you. You're my clothes.
Oh, God.
Nope. I will wear your body.
Oh!
This is what happens when I'm alone, Alex. You can't leave me alone in front of a camera. I do weird things.
Oh, God, please don't do that.
You know this.
Don't do this.
Some people watching this might know this.
Oh, God. All right, here we are. We're good.
Well, I didn't get naked.
I'm glad you did. I'm sure they are, too.
Well.
We'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so there was that. When it comes to the presentation of the game, I noticed the scene transitions. Like, so when you go from gameplay and then to a cutscene, all of them have been awkward. Every single one. That's post-patch too. And it bothers me.
I feel like we're already doing this, but just to like say, let's say all the negative things first.
Yeah.
Because I want to end on a positive note.
Yeah.
Because I do really enjoy this game. I just want to get that out of here. But there are critiques that I have.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of them. Like, specifically the whole beginning of the game.
Yes.
Like the first 20 or 30 minutes, I thought were kind of awful. Like I was really concerned because I'm like, oh no, everything that I saw for this game seemed like something that I would really enjoy. And like it starts and I'm like, oh well, this is interesting. It did like the emotional cutscene. After like what felt like a 10-minute long loading screen, like that initial loading. I don't know if it's different on the Pro, but
no, those
I
load times
waited
are
forever.
it's rough.
And then I watched a 2-minute cutscene and I was like, oh, that was mildly emotional. And then I waited like another seemingly 10 minutes for a load screen. And I was like, oh no, I hope that this isn't how it is. And thankfully, it wasn't. Once the game opens up, it's a lot more seamless and there's less abrupt loading. But it seems like every time there's a big story occurrence, there's a loading screen, there's a little cutscene, and then another freaking loading screen.
Yeah.
And it is, in an open world game that claims to be, more focused on story,
That should not
I feel like that was something that they overlooked.
Missed the mark on, yeah, definitely.
Because it takes you right out of it. Like it opened up with an emotional scene, and then it's like, all right, now wait, stare at this black screen for
with this ring spinning around. Like,
longer than an entire minute, which sounds like a first world problem, and I guess it kind of is, but that's a lot of time.
Like when being compared to games like Tomb Raider and The Last of Us, both games which have handled that flawlessly.
Well, like with The Last of Us, that had like when you're on the menu and then you choose to start the game, it does have a long loading screen.
Yeah.
The Last of Us has like an excruciatingly long loading screen before you start playing the game. But then once you get into the game, no load.
Yeah, you're done.
And I thought that was going to happen with Days Gone because of how long the loading screen was the first time. I was like, okay, we're just getting that out of the way, and then we're going to just go. No.
And then
you have to wait.
And for a studio that worked so closely with Naughty Dog, a company that was pretty innovative with load times, especially on the PS2 with Jack and Daxter, by just them not existing, you'd think they would kind of take that like, oh, we should do something with that. Uncharted had load times here and there, but only when you were starting the game, like just to get the game loaded. Once the game started, it was seamless.
Yeah.
So the fact that Ben didn't capitalize on that was something I thought they would learn, kind of detrimental, and that bothered me quite a bit.
And now, I know that there's a lot of things happening, like complicated things happening in the background of this game. There's a day and night cycle. There's a weather system. There's not just like the humans, but there's wildlife. There's the zombie things, freakers. And there's different types of humans, and they all behave differently based on the weather, based on the time of day. So there's like a lot of things that have to get calculated, and it is a pretty massive world, so lots of things need to be loaded in.
Yeah.
But I just haven't seen, and yeah, this is totally, we're spoiled, but I haven't seen an open world game have that problem of having to load things after a cutscene and things like that. Usually, during the cutscene, they can load everything, and then it's fine. Just don't skip the cutscene.
How sporadic the weather is, to me, is a little weird. Because it will literally be sunny one minute, and then raining the next, and then sunny again, and like back. There's no consistency in it. So, while it's appreciative, because the environment definitely does play a factor in everything you do, whether it's riding your bike or hiding or how you get noticed by enemies, that's awesome. But some consistency in it would be good, just because it is one moment.
Maybe it's just like luck of the draw, but my experience has been pretty like fluid.
Yeah.
With like the weather and everything, like I'll notice that the sky will get like a little darker before it rains, and that takes like, I mean, it's not actual hours, but like hours in the game world, however, like minutes or whatever.
Well, and that's another thing. So when you pause the game, it gives you the counter of how many days or so have gone,
which is kind of cool.
That's
by
cool.
the way.
But that number is, again, like you could literally spend. So I think when I got towards one moment, I had a cutscene, and then that cutscene is only literally 30 seconds long, and then I go back to it, a day has passed in that counter. And I'm like, well, hold on now. Did I miss something where we crossed over to another day at this point? Because I've skipped 2 days already, and only 10 minutes have happened.
I wonder if do you think, I haven't really paid that much attention to how it goes on. I wonder if that's tied to the day and night cycle or the hours played.
Even then at that point, I haven't played more than maybe 3 hours at the most. So, because at first I thought, oh, every time you pause the game, that's cool. I'm like, well, then it didn't go again. I'm like, weird. But I've only skipped over day and night maybe once or twice.
Did you sleep at all yet?
In the game? No.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, why have I already skipped 3 or 4 days already. I'm like,
Maybe that
this is
conversation was just like, or during the loading screen that happened after the conversation, an entire freaking day passed.
Yeah.
Deacon just standing there.
Exactly, just staring at Boozer, just like,
hey, Boozer.
How you?
How you doing? I almost just spoiled something.
God.
Can't talk about Boozer.
Can't talk about Boozer.
Can't
But
talk
anyway.
about anyone.
So, I mean, I had that. But other than that, I mean, the game, I want to keep playing. I'm curious to see how it goes, because I had the same kind of experience with Tomb Raider, where it was very much slow in the beginning. Couldn't think of how to, it was enough to where I wanted to keep playing, to figure out, because I know it's going to get deeper, but it took a minute. And I feel like I had the same experience in Days Gone that I do Tomb Raider.
I feel like the intro does not paint the best picture of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And like the shining feature, allegedly, being the hordes, it took me, like I literally just experienced my first horde before leaving my house.
And how was that? How did that?
Well, so I found there are these like medical facilities, the Nero facilities or whatever. So I found like my third or fourth one of those, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in there, get the syringe, it's fine. And there's always been like some freakers kind of meandering about, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I can kill those, and then I can get in there, and it's okay. So I was like going to do that, and then I heard like a grunt or whatever to my side, and I'm like, oh no, there's a freaker. So I turned, and there was a freaker, but then there was like this like train that had stopped up on this railroad thing, and just pouring out of the train, like literally pouring, where it had to have been like 150 of the freakers, and they're just like pouring out and like tripping over one another and like clawing and stuff, and I'm like, fuck. So I had a machete, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. So I stood my ground, and I killed the freaker that was just standing there close to me, and then like the horde is like coming at me. The train was kind of far away, but they could see me. And like I was ready to fight them, and then they get about like 10 feet away from me, and I'm like, never mind, I can't do this. Nope. There's too many. So I turned to run, and there's more of the horde. Like they totally flanked me, and I didn't know. So they like, some of them I guess ran around the facility, and so they were coming at me from two different angles, and so I just turned this way, and I tried to run away, and they run too fast.
Yeah, no, they're quick. From what I've seen gameplay videos.
So I ended up getting completely surrounded. I was in a mosh pit of zombies, and I just was using the machete, and I was trying to like slice them away, and I just could not, and I died. So that was my first experience, and then I immediately retried, and that's when I realized that if you don't quick save, then
that saving system is weird.
Well, like I think you just have to quick save anytime that you get off the bike. Quick save at the bike.
Well, here's the thing. So you can save. You can do your save file when not near the bike, but it still starts you off
at the quick save.
At the yeah. So I'm like, well, what's the point of me having this feature then if it's not gonna matter? Because
I think that's like if you quit out of the game and then go back in.
Well, that's what I did. So I saved. I was like, okay, this is a good point for me to stop because it was late. I was going to bed. I'm like, nothing's going on. I just finished the story beat. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, let me save this, see how it starts. I'm like, okay. So I saved the game file, left it there. Okay, got back in today, and I'm like, well, what the hell? This is a cutscene I've already. I went literally
an
hour.
have to redo a cutscene.
I had to redo like an hour of the gameplay to get back. Yeah, because I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, seriously? But I mean, it didn't keep anything I had done. So experience, weapons, anything I collected. So I'm like, what is the point of having that saving feature in the menu if it doesn't mean anything? It was pretty frustrating. I had to redo it all again. I'm like, and it took me longer to do it this time because I had two freakers I tried to sneak by. They weren't there last time. They were a little more spread out, so I was able to kind of snake my way through it. This time I had to wait and hide until I'm like, okay, just give it a minute. Use distractions. Like, this is annoying. I shouldn't have to do this again.
I just plow through and then I get my ass kicked.
Well, there you go. That's the problem.
But the horde taught me a lesson. And I will pass this on to you. Every time you get off the bike, quick save. Yeah. Every single time. Because then that basically becomes your checkpoint.
I know the bike is like the central part with, I mean, everything in the game. And they do a good job of that too. The bike is very important.
Ammo on the bike, which I keep forgetting. But you can do that. I don't like the fuel thing. Which makes sense, and it adds to the tension. But like, that always causes me problems because I run out of fuel. and then I'm just running around trying to find those little tanks.
And I'm sure it's hard for you to gauge, like, where should you park the bike. That way you don't use up too much fuel to get to where you're going. Because, I mean, that would solve the problem is, I'll park the bike close enough, but enough for me where I can walk and run. If I need to get out of there, I can get the bike quickly enough. But you don't know that until you've been in that spot before. So that leads to constant fuel burning,
Also, like, if you were in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
And not saying the game should be realistic, because, there's escapism and all those things,
Mhm.
but if you were in that situation, you wouldn't know those things either. So it's kind of like, I got to find out where I got to put the bike, and I got to, like, it kind of makes you think as if you're there.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool. But it doesn't change my behavior at all. I just ride the bike right into the place, and then I jump off the bike, and then I kill whatever runs at me, and then I try to be sneaky, and then I fail.
Mhm.
But that's not necessarily what I recommend. But still, like, if you come up to an outpost, usually what I would recommend is just, like, stay, like, on the outskirts of that outpost or whatever. Park the bike, immediately quick save.
Okay.
Always do the triangle thing.
Yeah.
After you get out of the bike, and then you should hopefully be good as gold. And then if you die, you don't have to drive
And
for
go
like 10
much
minutes.
stuff, yeah.
But yeah, so the horde killed me, and then I had to drive back, and I was like, okay, I'm prepared. I know that the horde is here. I'm going to kill them. I had a game plan, and I was like going to throw one of the distractor thing, get the horde to go towards the distractor thing, and I had, or so I thought, one of those like rapid fire assault rifles.
Assault rifles, yeah. Rapid fire assault rifle things.
Listen, I'm not a gun man. I just know that one thing goes bang and one thing goes boom, and I had a boom. Okay? So I had the boom, or so I thought.
And you did not.
I did not. I grabbed, it was just the one shot, the bang. I had a bang from a guy that I completely slaughtered in front of his family. So I had that, but I thought it was the boom. But anyways, so I was prepared. I threw the distractor thing, and I was hiding behind a thing, and I was like, when they run to the distractor thing, I'll just like kill as many as I can, and then hopefully I kill enough to where they'll run towards me. And I was like, okay, I'll throw one of the Molotov cocktail things, and then I should be able to pick off the rest, because hopefully they'll all catch on fire, as they do. However, so I throw the... Everything's a disaster.
Shenanigans.
So I throw the distraction thing, and then I hear one of them scream, and I'm like, okay, that's good. They heard the distraction thing, and then I see like a couple of them run towards the distractor thing, and so then I duck down because I don't want them to see me, and I'm like, all right, they're running towards the distractor thing, so I'm trying to like imagine where they are based on like the sounds that I'm hearing and everything, and I'm like, okay, and so enough time passes where I feel like they're at the distraction thing, so I pop up and they're not there.
You're just like, huh?
And I'm like, oh no. So I turn the camera around, and the path that they chose to take from the train to the distraction thing. So this is the Nero place, and then there's like some cover here that I was behind. I threw the distractor to the side of the Nero place.
Okay.
The train is up here.
Yeah.
They decide to go around this way because there's like a little, not a mountain, but there's like a little like
hill
mound that I'm on behind a rock. They decide to go around that rock, and so they saw me. So I turn the camera around, and there's just an angry horde of freakers coming right towards me. And I'm like, oh no. So I pull out the assault rifle, and I'm like, I'm just going to mow them down. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no, because that was my last bullet for the fucking rifle. Because I, for some god-awful reason, decided to switch to that when I was killing the guy in the family. Long story short, I died. Same thing happened as before. I pulled out the machete and mosh pit and then dead. And that's where I turned off the PlayStation, and I decided that maybe I should never be in an apocalyptic scenario.
Oh my god,
that was my most recent experience with the game.
And I think that attributes to the positive of the game, really, is that every experience, at least I would think, majority of experiences will be different. So, I mean, knowing that what you went through will be different for me. I know we both had a very similar experience at the beginning of the game with the bike, and just running into things left and right, and just dying.
Because, the bike controls make sense.
Yeah.
But playing other games, like you're just used to, okay, this
Yeah.
is the way that a vehicle controls. And so like that weightiness of it and the way that it turns, it just caught me off guard. So,
Yeah, same here. I'm like, oh god, I can't tilt that much. It's a bike. It's not a car.
just
I'm
bam, right
would
into the
flip.
tree.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, overcorrecting, and the guy's throwing like Molotovs at you and fires. I'm
It's
like,
like-
oh shit.
I feel like the beginning of the game, I feel like most people probably experience it this way. You know those shitty YouTube videos of like the kids riding the bike and they have the wheel and they're doing this and you know they're gonna fall, but for some reason they don't for the longest time. They're just like, that is playing Days Gone for the first time.
Yep.
And that's my experience playing Days Gone the entirety of the time.
Definitely take some training wheels.
But yeah, you got to run into the first tree and then after that it's smooth sailing.
Okay. So, I mean, after talking about what we liked about the game and what we didn't like, where does this game scale for you? Is it worth the play? Is it worth just kind of looking over and playing something else? What do you think?
So I'm
What
sorry.
the hell is that? No.
I'm spending too much time with freakers. I'm turning into one. I apologize. I'm sorry. So this is kind of weird because playing this game, it's making me feel a lot like how I felt when I was playing Mad Max.
Okay.
Like I feel like they're like basically the same kind of thing. I put them in the same category.
Mhm.
Mad Max is not a game that I think is extremely exceptional, but it's one that I recommend because I had a lot of fun with it. I spent more than 80 hours playing that game, and I feel like Days Gone is the same way.
Okay.
It's not the best game ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything that's wildly different than anything that's come before.
Yeah.
But I think it's fun. Like, I think it's worth playing if you like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like something like Mad Max, or if you like something like third-person Far Cry, then go for it. If you like zombie things, go for it. If you're looking for the next God of War or the next Last of Us, this is not it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's kind of unfair to compare them to that, too.
Oh yeah.
Because, like, that's just not what this is trying to be.
Not
I think
at all.
This is an open world survival playground,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about running around like a chicken with its head cut off, and trying to survive, and then inevitably dying.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's that kind of thing. So if you like that kind of thing, then go for it. So like, would I recommend it? Yes, but I don't think it's a must play. I think it's if you like that kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, like, I haven't gotten to any like major story event or anything. Like, I just saw my first horde, and it wasn't part of a story. It was just I stumbled upon it because I've been exploring the world more than doing story stuff.
Yeah.
So like, I can't really comment on the quality of the story or like the emotional impact or anything like that. I can only comment on the gameplay and the world, and I think that that's where the game shines.
Okay.
So if that's interesting to you, then play it. If you're more interested in story stuff, I don't know yet.
And that's kind of where I'm at with right now too. I mean, the game doesn't do anything terribly bad, but it doesn't do anything exceptionally well. It's a game that exists. It's fun. It's definitely something you can just pick up and get into. I enjoy the combat. A lot. The loadings make things a little awkward story pacing for me, so it's definitely something I'm just kind of playing to play and see where it goes. Hopefully it gets better. Things of that nature. But I want to see the different ways of playing. So, I mean, typically for me, I play games, I'm guns a-blazing in there, like stealth. I'm not great at it by any means. I did the same thing with Uncharted. I did stealth as much as I could until I'm like, okay, this sucks, just pull out a gun, go for it. Whereas this one, I'm very reluctant to pull out my gun, even when I have a suppressor on it. I want to make sure if I can get all the stealth kills I can, I'm going for every single one. I mark and I look around the environment, like, okay, where can I go? How do these people move? What's their cycle? Okay, good. I can go through that.
I love how we approach the situations the same way, but the difference is you're good at,
I know I'm terrible at this. I'm usually absolute shit at this, at these moments. So the fact that I pulled off as long as I have, I'm like, oh, look at this, I'm a badass.
I'm a badass Spider-Man.
And I'm like, oh god. But I'm like, that's one of my hesitations with games like this. I'm like, I'm gonna be terrible. Like, do I want to spend $60 to play this game I know I'm gonna be bad at? And so far, I'm doing it pretty well. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm just kind of going into it. But I mean, if anyone was looking for, if we had a customer walk in and say, I'm looking for a game, open world, just kind of I can do whatever I want, and then PS4, I would go with this. I was like, hey, it's fun. You very much can play any way you want to some ways are smarter than others, but the job can be done sometimes.
I painted my bike pink. That's the first thing I did when I could.
Mm.
So if you want a pink bike, you can have a pink bike.
You can get a pink bike. But
So
why?
I'm just saying you can customize. You said you can play however you want. I wanted a pink bike. I had a pink bike.
Well, there you go. All
Something
more
I can
freedom. But yeah, I mean, it's.
I'm feeling very judged right now.
Just how where you came in with that. You can play all you want. I got a pink bike.
Well, that's the thing you can do. If you want a pink bike, you can have a pink bike.
I'm talking about like when you were in an encampment and you've got 10 people with guns and machetes ready to beat the shit out of you, and you have a group of freakers outside of that place, and you can figure out how can I manipulate them into that, or do I want to take it step by step? And your ass is pink bike.
You know, I pull up to the outpost and I'm like, hey guys, look at the bike! The pink bike! And then I get shot by
Yeah.
a sniper hiding in a tree.
Probably because he thinks he's like, we can't have that shit near here. No.
Friggin' in like,
It's not even about the pink bike, but it's how you presented the pink bike. It's like, Jesus.
look at the bike!
He's over here screaming the pink bike. We got a horde of freakers out there, just assholes.
Shut up about the bike!
Yeah, exactly, and that's why you died.
Yeah, this is why I shouldn't be in these kinds of situations.
Anyway, again, if you own a PS4 and you're looking for a game to play, pick up Days Gone. It's fun. It's easy to get into. Has its issues, but nothing that's gonna hinder your gameplay entirely.
If you don't like it within the first 20 or 30 minutes, just stick with it.
Yeah, to
Wait
get,
until
it
it
definitely
opens
was.
up.
You gotta weigh the waters.
You gotta get your
through it.
other bike,
Yeah,
and then try it out.
yeah.
And
Keep
then
going. Give it a few hours.
Yeah.
If you don't like it by then yeah, look for something else. But I guarantee you, by the end of it, you're like, hey, that wasn't bad. That was fun.
And there's a lot of bang for your buck too. Like from what I hear,
Mhm.
the story alone takes about like 30 to 40 hours.
Yeah.
That's a long story.
Oh yeah, you get your money's worth. You get a lot to do. So.
And that's not counting like all the side stuff you can do. There's nests, there's hordes, there's the Nero encampments, there's outposts.
And then you got this free content coming starting in June.
free
so
content.
It's adding challenge modes and everything. So I mean that'll be fun too.
And,
I know
like,
people love that stuff.
Another stupid little thing. As you're like going around,
Mhm.
like little events will happen, kind of like in Red Dead, but not quite as impressive.
I can't tell if you're complimenting the game for this.
No, this is a
or you're
compliment.
shitting
I
on
feel like that's kind of the whole thing with this game. That's this whole game is like, what's the word? Shtick? That's the
Yeah.
game's shtick. It's the whole thing. It's like this game is like all of these games that you love, but not quite as good as any one of them. But it's got components of all of them.
Mhm.
You know, it's like that where it's fun. It's good. I think it's great. But as you're going around, little events will happen. So like there was one time there was this guy who was standing on a car and he was like screaming and he was just surrounded by zombies. And you can help him or you can leave him to die. You can literally just sit there, park your bike, and watch him die, and that's kind of cool. But like those sort of things will happen. There was a hostage. Some guy was being taken hostage by another outpost, and he was like tied up and stuff, and they were like holding him at gunpoint. They were trying to get like items, and they were like asking where certain things were or something because they were trying to get supplies for their camp. And you can like help them. You could kill the hostage. Like you can do all those things that kind
Lots
of
of
like emerge
freedom.
in the world.
Lots of freedom.
And that's kind of
That's
cool.
awesome.
Like it's not just with like the animals and the zombies. With like their migration patterns or whatever, but the people have things that are going on like too, and they have goals and they have like patterns of stuff that they do, and they have routes that they take and all this. So like it felt, even though the world is pretty empty because it's an apocalyptic setting, there were still things happening, and like literally as you're driving, there will be like on your map a little question mark will show up, and you can choose to go towards that question mark or not. And that's kind of cool too. Like, there's just all these little things that you can do and smaller choices that you can make. Like, I got to a point in the story where it was a story thing, but you can choose. Like, you get items from this guy, and you can choose to either give them to one outpost or another.
Yeah,
And
I heard about
that'll
this.
like build your trust with one outpost, but then you might miss out on some like benefits from helping the other outpost. So there's like things like that going on too. And while I've only found 2 outposts so far that are friendly, it's kind of neat seeing how those things are starting to intermingle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm only like 5 or 6 hours into the game, and not that long into the story though, because I've been doing mostly side stuff. So probably I'd say like 2 hours into the story.
Okay.
But you know, like there's a lot of like little things going on, and I think that's cool. And that adds to like all the different things that you can do and the ways that you can play that make your experience unique compared to others. Just it's a neat thing.
There you go. Well, there you have it. Give Days Gone a shot. It'll be a lot of fun. You definitely get bang for your buck, and you got a lot of free stuff to look forward to if you enjoy it. So, other than that, guys, this has been the 4th episode of the Awesome Games Podcast. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We appreciate it dearly. Again, let us know how we're doing. Let us know what we're doing great on, what we're doing bad at, and we'll do our best to incorporate it. But until then, we'll see you next week.
See ya.